All right. I guess we're here. This feels fucking weird. I have not been here in a minute. It looks like the last recording on my hard drive was in March. And this is September 1st. So, hi, I guess. I'm coming back slowly. I don't feel like being like, I'm back, and like making all these bold promises about how I'm like recommitting to YouTube. And I'm going to talk about why that is today, because I think that's at the root of why I disappeared for 6 months. I've been thinking about coming back to YouTube for probably about 3 months or so. Like, I've missed it a lot. I really loved putting stuff out on here. I loved like the community that was building, the audience that I have had. And like, honestly, I feel like I was doing quite well. But I guess what I felt inspired to like come on here and talk about today was like, I just lost so much light. As much as I want to like get on here and be like, I'm back to YouTube, yay, and say that I have like this backlog of videos and this schedule and regular posting thing I'm gonna do, it's just not the case. I want to come back to YouTube, and I am like slowly making my way back, I think. But I struggle a lot with consistency, and I think this is something I've talked about before, but if not, welcome to a huge part of Savannah that maybe you don't know about. Funny that I said Savannah. I really only go by Sav now. But consistency has been a real struggle for me. Now I'm too bright. I'm out of practice with this exposure shit. We're going to go with this. Okay. If you know me at all, you know that like I've struggled with consistency, and that over the years I have pivoted a number of times. I think I started, in my life, I started as a theater kid who loved theater and performing and acting, and I thought I was going to be in movies and on stage. That changed to film, and we're going to talk about that too today. And then that became videography, and then videography became photography, and then photography became coaching. Big jump. I don't know, but it makes sense if you go back and map it all out. But the point is I pivot a lot, and I have had a lot of identities over the years, and I very much identify with the labels of ADHD and manifesting generator and multi-passionate entrepreneur type thing, where I have a lot of passions, I have a lot of thoughts and ideas, and I have very little stick-to-itiveness. And I struggle with consistency, and I hit like a 3 to 6 month mark with pretty much anything in life, and the light just like goes out on it. And yes, I think that is like a big part of the puzzle for me, like the ADHD-ness, and like I think I am designed to jump from thing to thing and pivot a lot and change a lot and evolve. And I think there's a way to do that while keeping a through line, and I think in some ways I have. But what I came on here to talk about today is that like I also think there's something deeper going on around failure, and like my fear of failure, and what I perceive as something working and something not working. Like, for instance, with YouTube, I think that I had like really over glamorized ideas about like how well and how quickly and how easily I was going to build a YouTube channel. And I think I do this with a lot of different things, business ideas and pivots. I just think that things are going to be easy, I think. And I didn't really realize this was something that I did. I thought I just like believed in myself a lot, which is true. I think I do like believe in myself to a fault almost. But yeah, I did some examining today, and so I want to dive into like where maybe it's not so much that I believe in myself as much as it is this story from childhood that I'm just like, that success is easy. So I want to talk about that today. So I grew up in a town that was really small. I actually really wanted to Google like what the actual population was. Population in like 2005. Yeah, like 2,000 people. So I grew up in a pretty small rural coastal area of around 2,000 people in my main town, and there were like several towns strung together along the coast. That was a really long way of saying I grew up in a small town. um, and honestly, like a lot of things came really easily to me when I was younger. Like I was described by elders in the community. I was described by my parents and the older people around me as like precocious and like mature and like old for my age or whatever they would say, like however people say it, mature for her age, I guess. And you know, I like kind of had my shit together as a kid. Like I was really into theater, and I would show up with my binder, and I had my highlighters, and I like knew all my lines, and I knew everybody else's lines, and I knew the schedule of rehearsals, and like I just like really thrived as a kid where I grew up, honestly. Even though like socially I did not thrive, I had like childhood bullying, and like I was homeschooled for that reason. And you know, a lot of the stories I've told myself about my childhood was that like I didn't thrive, but when I'm thinking about like achievement wise and like success and goals wise, like I fucking thrived working, homeschooling home alone. Like I was quick, I got my work done by noon, and then I would go and like play piano or practice for theater or like do whatever. From a career aspect or like a school, like I was always like labeled as like smart and ambitious and a go-getter, and I had my shit together, and I got things done and excelled, and that it was easy for me. Like I was talented, and I was smart, and like it's just natural for her to like do well. Like I just did well naturally. Like I feel like I thrived as a kid. Like I was so successful in my small town, in this bubble that my parents had helped create for me of like being homeschooled and feeling safe to learn and safe to like explore the talents and stuff that I was interested in. And I think like that created a narrative and a story for me that like success is easy, and that I'm just like really gifted at things, and like I can just pick everything. And it's true to this day. Like I pick things up quick, but I don't stick with them, and we're gonna get to that point. But like this narrative that like things come easy for me, I'm talented and gifted and like born to succeed. And so I've always kind of had this like really big goals and dreams and aspirations, and this sort of knowledge, it felt like, that I was going to succeed. And my parents also like super supportive, like go after your dreams kind of people, like do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life kind of people. And I think that also, like, because they always treated my dreams like they were possible to come true and realistic, like I always assumed my dreams were realistic. And I think it's been like a rude awakening, honestly, for me in adulthood to realize like my dreams like are big and not easy to achieve, and not going to be like handed to me. All right, so this artsy, talented kid who did really well in a small town, you know, for the first time in my life, when I'm in high school, I go to this boarding arts school, and I'm competing against the top of the top kids in the country for roles in the theater department. So I went to Interlochen, for those of you that don't know. Again, struggled to get in. Like, it was hard to actually get into Interlochen. I was on the wait list. There was a part of me that felt like I didn't even belong there, because I just like got waitlisted, and then just like I was just like kind of annoying to the admissions people until like they got me in. And I didn't get cast in a lot of stuff. Like the first year I was there, like it was like me and 3 other kids who were not cast in things. And like I felt like the reject of the theater department, like one of the rejects of the theater department. And so what did I do? I kind of internalized that and said, well, I think that maybe theater isn't for me. I coincidentally took a film class because I just needed like something to take my mind off of the theater stuff. I took this indie film class, and I fell in love with indie film and the way that like this teacher, he was amazing, rest in peace, Andy, but the way that he taught story and the way that he taught film like was like a light bulb moment for me. I was like, oh, I don't just love acting, I love like storytelling. And so what do? I transfer to the film department, and I start start my my new student career there for my senior year, and I actually do quite well again, like kind of succeed and exceed expectations that year in the film department, and I like graduate with like an award and like fantastic film, and I go to the my film goes to the film festival or whatever. But it was the beginning of my like pivoting when something's not working is kind of how I'm seeing that now. And again, I don't think it was the wrong move. Like, I think that I was meant to move more into film than acting. But it did sort of start this pattern that I've noticed over the years of like, oh, this isn't working. I must be doing the wrong thing. And then pivot into something else instead of realizing that maybe it's not that it's not working so much as it is like I haven't like mastered it yet. I haven't like grown my skill set in it yet. I haven't like honed my craft in it yet. And continuing to like work down that path, I just pivot because, and this is where my query has taken me today, is like, because I think on a deep level, like I am very uncomfortable with failure and rejection. And I think that's because for the first like 15, 16 years of my life, like I didn't really have a lot of rejection and failure. Like I felt pretty fucking good at everything I touched. And yeah, I'm learning, like right now I'm at a point in my life as an adult where I feel like an utter failure. Like I have been hitting this wall, especially in career stuff, which has always felt like the domain I was supposed to be really good in, or like I was supposed to do really well in, probably again because like I did so well in school. But I've been hitting this wall of failure in that area and in finances and in figuring out how to make money with this like fucking channel vessel thing, whatever the fuck, with my unique gifts and talents, with my like fucking eclectic bag of skills that I have gained over the years, and like my artistic abilities and my like I feel like I have a lot of talents and gifts and like this creative like thing, like I'm this little hub of like creativity, and I have all these things and I cannot force them to make me money, or like I can't figure out how to like direct them in a way that makes me money and it just gives me like financial stability. Like I don't even at this point need a lot. I just want to be able to eat, you know? And I have had this like really, really big story of failure coming up in my life lately. Like it's just like, wow, like I'm 30 years old. I don't have a house. I don't have this. I have no savings. I have no real like, I don't know where I'm going next, what I'm doing next. And it's not that I don't have a direction. I have a fucking vision. I always have a vision. I always have something I'm building or like going towards. But I don't have what I thought I would have by now. I don't have what I look around and see my friends having. And there's so many reasons for that. Again, like the neurodivergence. I came out as queer a few years ago, and so my whole life, like I had the house, I had the almost husband, and I've had great jobs over the years, and like for whatever reason, those always come to an end, whether I mentally break down or I get laid off. Like, I don't know, different things just seem to, like when I do have a great job and it's kind of going well, like it doesn't ever last longer than a year. And I'm just looking at my string of like pivots over the years and changing of things, and I'm starting to wonder if there's a level of like grit that I don't have. And I've thought about this word grit before. I read Angela Duckworth's book on it, I think, a few years ago, and I found it like mildly triggering because I was like, yeah, but like how do you have grit for something when the light just goes out of it? Like that's the part I don't quite know what to do with yet. But yeah, I don't know, I'm feeling like called, I guess, to explore this, like thinking of it less like consistency, because that feels like really crunchy for me, and more of grit and more of like how can I like tweak something, like continue to tweak it to be more in alignment instead of like dropping it completely and like completely changing directions. And like in some ways, yes, that's what I've done, and in other ways, no. But anyways, all this to say, one of the things that like is in alignment for me is making videos and yapping on the internet. Like I love yapping on the internet. I want to get paid to yap on the internet eventually. That would be dope. And so yeah, like coming back to this to me is like if I can come back to this, even if it's just in a simple format like this, because I don't think I have it in me to do the cinematic videos every week. But I like talking. Like I really liked doing the 30-day vlog when I was getting sober. Still sober. Kept that one up. And if I can keep just doing this, maybe come back to this. Like maybe it's something, maybe if I look at it a little bit different and like remember that I'm competing against the world and everyone on fucking YouTube, not a small town of 2,000 people like in my childhood. Maybe I can reframe the challenge and the lack of progress as like, yeah, I'm climbing a big fucking mountain. And success does not come easy. And that's what a lot of people have tried to tell people like me over the years. You always hear this like, success doesn't come easy, you don't expect it to be handed to you. And I never like identified as someone who wanted it handed to them. Like I knew intellectually that it takes effort and hard work, but I do struggle to have like, and I could go on a rant about like how this is capitalism's fault that I don't have extra energy to like hustle all the time. But I digress. I don't feel like I always have it in me to like grind. I'm also like 30, which maybe is young to some people, but it feels like I spent a lot of my 20s like grinding, and I don't love the energy of the grind. Like it just doesn't resonate. I have a lot of resistance to the grind. I want to like joyfully grind. I don't know. I want to just like slow, steady climb. I think that feels okay. Like I think it's going to be about handling those feelings of failure and rejection and like, damn, I'm not there yet. Like I really thought that I would be there by now. Like I really thought that this thing was going to work, or I was going to do this thing and it was going to take off. Like trying to keep some of those like grandiose visions or not even visions. Like I think it's good to have big visions, but like the grandiose thinking of like, I'm going to be the best at this right away and this is going to take off for me. Like I'm the quick fix. Like I'm such a quick fix gal. Like I'm always looking for the fastest way to the top. And I think what I'm learning is that I need to stop looking for shortcuts, which sucks because God knows I love a shortcut. Lord knows it. I love a shortcut. I just want to be there already. I just want to get there by now. But yeah, I think I got to grieve that there aren't shortcuts to the things that I want. And I don't even like saying that. Like, but yeah, it sucks. Kind of sucks. So yeah, there's a making peace with the journey and time that this is taking for me to get where I feel like I'm meant to go. And everyone says enjoy the ride, and I'm trying. But the ride should have basic universal income or something, you know? I don't know. I'm not going to go down that road. I'm glad to be back. I do feel like getting my thoughts out externally on the internet does help me a lot. So thank you for being my sounding board. I appreciate you guys letting me yap and like getting that you get something out of it, that it's helpful. I think that's really cool. That's just a cool thing about sharing honestly and authentically, I think. And yes. So I want to get on here more often and just yap about stuff like this. I also want to get on here and share more about story and the work I'm doing in my coaching business, which is the latest pivot, which is helping people understand how story interacts with their life and how their life interacts with their story, and like kind of the interchange of that, where our stories are keeping us stuck, where our stories are helping or hurting us, and how to just be more responsible with the stories that we're telling ourselves. So I think that for me has been like what this aha was today about this childhood story of success. Like, you would think that this childhood story of success of like, I was thriving as a kid and I was the star of every local production, and like, you think all that would like be a good story, right? But in a way, like, this story of success being easy has really, really hurt me in adulthood, and hurt me in the real world. And so yeah, I think that just being able to like step back and examine that story and be aware that that's what's been running in the background is like, oh, if I'm not good at this, then I'm doing the wrong thing, or it's broken and I need to fix it, or I need to change what I'm doing. Like, that's not necessarily the truth. Like, something might just not be working yet because I just started it and I need to get better at it, and it takes time. Like, the real ass factor that is time, and just like time over progress, or whatever the, I don't know, access is, but like, the time is needed like for anything to grow, and that's just like not something you can shortcut. So yeah, so I'm hoping to get on here and talk about story stuff too, and maybe have like, I'm thinking about publishing some of these in podcast form as well. And I think I'm just going to have like 2 podcasts, and one's going to be for story related stuff so I can stay on brand. And then the other one's going to be for random shit, that I feel like talking about, because I need an outlet for my random shit. And so whenever I try to make something that's like has a brand or has to be on brand, then I just like stifle the creative energy. So I think I might just have like 2 places for things or something. But anyways, more on that later when I actually get it figured out. As of right now, I'm just going to casually make videos when I feel like it. It's like the opposite of grit, but like, I don't know, I'm changing my like approach, I guess, and I'm allowing myself to just gently ease back into the slow, steady climb instead of the hustle and grit and like doing it perfectly and being all in again. So I hope this was helpful in some way, shape, or form. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming back to my channel after a long hiatus, and I hope that I will continue to be here, making videos and sharing them with you and sharing my thoughts. I hope that this isn't a one-off, and that I come back next week or whenever my next filming opportunity is, or whenever I have another idea in my brain. But yeah, thanks guys, and I guess that's it.